Hello everyone, my name is Riva and this is Stellaris, my first tutorial video in which I show you what I currently feel is the best start. The patch currently is 1.0.3, so in the near future it might be different with different patches coming out. Now, to show you that this start doesn't matter what you pick, I'm going to pick a random empire. So, we're going to pick a random empire, we're going to pick a spiral galaxy of 800 stars. It doesn't really matter. All that matters is the start is independent from what your empire is. There might be variations depending on what your start, what you get. See, we're a military dictatorship, which means that our ship upkeep is cheaper and our naval capacity is bigger. So it has no... Ooh, Fanatic Spiritualist. We're going to be very happy. It's not actually... So we get double health for a garrison, but our army is weak. Okay, fine. Anyway, so it doesn't matter what you do as your race for this start to work. Now, let's look at our leader. We're charismatic and we have architectural sense. There are some traits that are a lot better to start off with than others. But on the other hand, there's really no choice here, so... what a lot of people do is they get the free thought policy. I would advise against it unless you are playing say a monarchy, because monarchies get a big reduction in cost. Now, why you should not do this in the beginning, even though research speed is pretty good, is the fact that you need your influence. It's really important to get around the time... Oh, hyperlinks. Around the time you get your first colony out, you will want to get your first frontier station as well. And you can only do that by getting your influence saved up. If you save up from the beginning, find no one else to rival, which is also an easy way to get extra influence into... Anyway, it will take 30, so 34 months for you to have enough influence. 34 months is almost 3 years. That's the minimum it takes for you to get your first frontier outpost out. Now, frontier outposts are very important, especially on hyperlanes, to make sure you have a place to go. See, we are currently centered in an area which branches off in 6 different directions. So right now we're fine. If we were, say, here, we would only be able to go south or east. Now, at that point, you will want something to secure a way out at the very minimum. Preferably opposite. There are two choices for frontier outposts. A way to expand opposite of your colony to give you more room, or high value systems. Over here, this frontier outpost could potentially give us 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe 6 different star systems. So that makes star 408 really pretty good for that first frontier outpost. So prioritize getting room to move around if you're in hyperlanes. Warp is not as important, and wormholes is also not as important because you're not dependent on the lanes to go from place to place. 2, make sure you try to not overlap with your first colony. So either have your frontier outpost in a spot that is beyond your colony, opposite of your colony when checking with your homeworld. And the last one is, of course, if you have a colony, a really good one, but it's just slightly out of border range, well, slightly, say this planet, then you will want a frontier outpost halfway so you connect your area. It's really important to connect your areas and get as many stars as possible to get your resources going. Now, in your system, it's pretty easy what you do. You send your science ship to survey your entire system. It's making a slightly interesting round right now. Okay, what I want to do is I'm going to manually adapt this, so survey this one and then survey the system starting over there instead. This is actually the most logical, I think, to go around. It's actually pretty logical. And the last line here he will skip anyway. What you can also do is send your construction ship after your science ship to allow for faster construction of a mining station once you get a planet that has what you want. always build on your planet, in my opinion, always build a extra mining network. We actually have a pretty good start when it comes to amount of resources. We get extra science, and you always get 6 tile blockers on your first planet. So far, I have not seen it deviate at all. You always get 3 industrial wastelands, which each one has 1 of the research points on it. So one has physics, one has society, and one has engineering research on the industrial wasteland tile. You also get 3 slums. One has 2 energy, one has 1 energy, one has 1 food. This appears to always be the same no matter what you get. You also always get your capital has a planetary administration on a tile of 1 mineral, 1 food. Next to it is a 1 mineral mining network, sometimes 2, but usually there's always 1 mining network, 1 farm, and 2 power plants to provide for your first amount of money. The other 5 tiles on your planet are randomized. I've seen it happen that you have 3 tiles with no resources at all. I've also seen it happen where you get a ridiculous 4 society research on one of the tiles, and then it's an exception to this rule. Always build a mining network first on your, as the first thing you do. Build a mining network. In the early game, minerals are so important that you will want to get as much as possible right from the start. And that mining network is the most bang for your buck. Normally it costs 60, but we have our architectural sense leader, so it's only 51 for us. But 60 minerals worth, giving you 2, is more than the 90 that you get from a mining station. So it's more cost efficient. If you don't find an early mining station, you will want to build a second one on your homeworld as well. The mining stations are, of course, also advantageous in that you can always get a different thing on your planet. It's not either or, it's usually both. Now, depending, this is a really good homeworld for research because we get the bonus research. So if you have more than 1 research on a tile, I would prioritize any tile for that one. So if it's just 1, just leave it be for now. If it's 2 research or more, move a pop onto it, build the mining network first, and then build a research lab on that tile to boost your starting research tremendously. Research is, after minerals, your second most important resource in the early game. Late game, when you have really good research going and really good mineral outcome, you will want to prioritize energy credits so you don't go into debt. But, once again, start on a mining network on your homeworld and have your mining construction ship build a mining station on the first minerals you encounter. Nothing else. Unless it's really, really, really high amount of research. If it's more than 3. 3 is... depends on what kind of start, what it is. If it's 3 society, I would take it because it speeds up your research into colony ships. If it's 3 physics or 3 engineering, I would hold off onto it and still get that first mining station on minerals going. As far as research goes, in the beginning I usually like to get a 1 extra scientist to start off with. Now, scientists are hiring leaders, does cost influence. And as I said, you want your influence for a frontier station. Hiring 1 leader is the maximum I would do personally to actually do that, because you will want to spend your minerals on making more minerals in the beginning, which is mostly mining stations on mineral fields, and sometimes mining stations for credits to keep you in the plus, because you will need a surplus of money when you go and colonize. The first researcher I usually get is dependent on what I already have. I have statecraft as my society specialty, which is personally my favorite one, because what the specialties do, not only do they speed up research in that particular field by 10%, they also give a higher chance to draw cards from the research deck. These are the cards in the research deck, and that are in that expertise area. You're much more likely to find them if you have that expertise actually working as a researcher. Over here, for our physics, we see we have solar panel, we have global energy management, and we have blue lasers. Of these, I don't particularly need one of them. I think blue lasers is actually pretty decent, but it takes forever. It takes 15 years with your starting amount of research, which is probably a little bit much in the beginning. No, 15 years, 7.5 years. I'm dividing by 6 instead of 12. So it's 7... it's actually 8 years if you consider that it's 95 months. So 8 years for that first research. I'd much rather get a research done in 4 years. That's pretty much good. And the solar panel network is decent. I personally feel it's a crutch for when you are really low in credits. But it's still a nice crutch to have if possible. If you are swimming in credits, get rid of your solar panel networks on your orbital stations. But it's a crutch. Don't focus on building that. When you really need it and you have a surplus of minerals, go for solar panel networks on your spaceports. Other than that, yeah, it's a decent research. Now, society, I always go with colony ship. Early expansion as early as possible is really important, so I usually get that first. Finally, engineering, we have Iron Thruster, Engineering Facility, Defense Platform. Of these three, being able to get iron thrusters I like the most, because faster ships means faster surveying and faster construction, because your science ships will be going around system surveying, and if they have iron thrusters they do it slightly faster than if they have chemical thrusters. But that is of what I currently have available, would be my choices. Research is, I would say, it's very personally dependent. But let's look at a possible leader that we can hire. I always... If I hire anything, it's a starting scientist. And actually, it would be really good to get a Spark of Genius scientist. It's really good. But I feel that I like Maniacal more than Spark of Genius sometimes. Because a Maniacal scientist gives a higher chance at weird research than a Spark of Genius or an Expertise one does. You have a really high chance of getting psionics research, for instance, if you have a Maniacal researcher on physics research. And psionics is basically a ton of army damage, because you get psionic warriors, and then that leads into some cool stuff. Now you also need to be spiritualist if you have that, hey, which we by chance are, by the way. We are a spiritualist government, so it would be quite easy for us to get that particular one at a point in time, which is quite funny. So, but this is basically my first, the things I do first. I build a mining network, I send my research ship out to survey my own system. After that, I will send out my fleets to scout around for any sort of planets that I might like to have. I know I'm making a quite big circle around here, but it's important to know your stellar neighborhood. It really is. You want to know if there's anyone nearby, which systems are really, which you should avoid because they have things in them. Very important, those things. And our moon. Okay, that's a really good moon. It's 4 credits. I'm tempted to take that, but as I said, you should wait for the first mining. Okay, we have aliens. These are
situation log updated.
Okay. It's auto and pauses when I click on interesting, which is annoying. These are the space whales. On the previous one, I think they were the crystalline entities. Right now, arid and arid. I believe we have a arid homeworld. We are indeed on a arid world, which means we have already found 2 systems with planets we might like. The problem is both are infested with creatures. That's not nice. A 20... Oh, actually, Calf is not infested because that's space whales. That's nothing dangerous, so... Ocean world over there. Still haven't found any minerals, but that's fine. It doesn't always happen in the begining. Sometimes you get a really crappy home system. I like that we already... Aha! We have gamma aliens already in sight. I think they're continental. Okay, now we're coming in here. What is this planet? This is a... Actually, no, it's a tundra world. Huh. I was just going around them, seeing the area here. He's actually on that one system that I said would be a really good place for a frontier outpost, because it would contain a lot of planets around it. Lucky him. So, desert, tundra, tropical, tropical, continental... desert, ocean. Wow, he's
Construction complete.
He's got a lot of stuff. He could get really fed. And another tundra world. Wow. So we've just finished our first building, our mining network, because I haven't found any minerals in my system just yet. I'm gonna build another one. That first food tile is not that important. It actually does help you grow the more food you have. But you need to have a really big surplus of food to make it noticeable that you grow faster. So for now, a second one is fine. We have the minerals to build our first thing, if ever necessary. Arid world, that's good for us. It's already in our system as well. Arid world here too. Ooh, lots of arid worlds. So already 4 arid worlds right next to us. Like, within 2 jumps. Well, 3 jumps for calf, but... Of all these systems, I would prioritize getting calf first, because it gets us more systems in range for resources. And another one. Here we go, we have found minerals. I was, of course, a little bit late, but still, that mining station priority. It's a pretty decent system. I had some audio issues the first time I recorded this. And I actually had, my home system had 0 resources in it. 0. Mining drones, okay. Good for Yanduz. What is there? Tropical world, not that important. Cantharum also has an arid world, which is good for us. Ocean world over here. Could also go the other way around, but this is fine. Same mining drones.
Situation log updated.
Mining drones have one advantage if you encounter them. They will always have their mineral mining bases on an asteroid that actually has stuff in it. So you know that if you find a lot of mining drones, it might be a very worthwhile place to go. Now, we finished our first system survey. It's pretty decent. And we are currently 57 months away from research, so I will just go to another system nearby to get more resources, hopefully. It's actually a pretty good start, to be honest. I don't mind this start, to be honest, no. This is... I like getting research started in my first system. Ooh, a Gaia world. How big is it? It has a ring as well. 17. Not bad at all. Gaia world with a ring. Nice. Find one other empire. He will have a lot of stuff to build.
Situation log updated.
Aliens. These are already gone. No. Void Cloud. Get the hell out of there right now.
Hostile fleet engaged.
Crap. Oh, we barely lost that one. Okay, you are gonna go the other way around. No, 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 no. And then... Crud. I hate when they do that. Our construction ship is not doing anything, but it's fine. So, as you can see, within 1.5 years of playing, I already have a surplus of almost 17 minerals every month. Just by following the easy instructions of build 1, preferably 2 mining networks. Unless you have a really good research tile on your planet, then you will want a science lab instead to speed up your research. And build a mining station on the first minerals you find within your area. And when you get this starting minerals, after that it just becomes easier and easier and easier to keep up with building stuff. If you consider 17 minerals, and it takes, I don't know how long actually, it doesn't actually say how long it takes to build a mining station, but it's 5 months roughly. If you have 16, 17 minerals every month, that is almost a full mining station in the time it takes to build one. So you can keep up. Of course, you will also need a couple of corvettes in the beginning, because pirates are a thing, and of course we might want to take out these crystalline entities at some point. So that's the final thing. Don't neglect your military in the beginning, because you will get screwed over by pirates if you do. I want to thank you all for watching. Make sure to like this video if you enjoyed it. Build those mining networks, subscribe to the channel, keep surveying, and I'll see you guys later. And if you have any comments on this tutorial or any future tutorials, please leave a message. If you want to think of specific things you want me to explain about the game, I'm almost 100 hours in. I think I've got a pretty decent grasp on the game. Just say what you want to know, and I will try to make a video on it. Bye.